Hello, welcome or welcome back. So, recently, a bookstore in San Francisco decided to ban books by J.K. Rowling due to her transgender views. Booksmith, which opened in 1976, said the final straw came last month when J.K. Rowling announced on social media that she would use her personal wealth to fund the J.K. Rowling Women's Fund, which describes itself as the legal fund to support individuals and organizations fighting to retain women's sex-based rights in the workplace, in public life, and in protected female spaces. On another note, just last week, no other than Leah Thomas is being stripped of all UPenn records. If you don't know who Leah Thomas is, she's a transgender woman who competed in the women's division at UPenn, taking titles away from biological women who are great swimmers. So these news really made me ponder on this whole debate about transgender women in sports specifically. And through the studies I found, I wanted to share my view on this topic, and I'm curious to know what you guys think about this too. So let's go back to 1972 when Title IX was passed as part of the Education Amendment. So Title IX ensures fairness and protects discrimination based on sex, which courts have historically interpreted as biological sex. However, the Biden administration expanded the Title IX protections to include gender identity. See, I see the intention from Biden's administration and people who wants to include gender identity. Yes, I see the intention. It's a good intention, but I think that it leads to some greater issues. It seems equal, inclusive, and all until we acknowledge the scientific facts and reality, and that is the biological sex difference. As we all know, there's a long list of reasons why men are generally better at sports than women. They have larger lungs, less body fat, more muscle mass on average. One could argue that some of these advantages can be negated by hormone therapy, thereby eliminating their advantages. The key word here is some advantages, not all. Even one natural advantage that you have can take you further than those who don't have your advantage. So studies have found that trans women were still stronger and had more muscle mass following 12 months of treatment. A study found that trans women generally maintained or increased their strengths. And similar studies show the same thing. They found that transgender women will enter the female division with an inherent advantage because of their prior male physiology. So these studies does not suggest that hormone therapy is enough to erase the advantages trans women have in terms of strengths. On top of that, there's also safety concerns. A World Rugby study found that transgender women retain a significant strength advantage over cisgender women, leading to 20 to 30% increased risk of injury during tackles. So yes, it's not fair for biological women when we include trans women in sports, but if we exclude transgender women, then it's not fair for them either. So either way, it's going to be unfair for some people, but we must consider what's more important and what sports is based on. It all comes down to fairness or inclusion. So the question is, which one is more important for sports? If you ask me, I personally value fairness more in sports because of the following reasons. Number one, sports measures physical performance, not identity. Categories and divisions exist for a reason, to separate people who would otherwise have an inherent advantage. The purpose of sports is to compare the abilities within a fair constraint. Therefore, fairness must come first. Number two, second reason, is that fairness in sports is based on an objective standard such as biological sex difference, age, weight, training, etc., while inclusion is subjective. It's based on social values and identity, which makes it harder to measure. Number three, we have to consider the reason why women's categories exist in the first place. It exists to create fair opportunities for women and to address the differences in physical capabilities between men and women. So obviously Title IX was passed to prohibit these sex-based discrimination, so this ensured equal opportunities for both men and women to participate in sports. And the key word here is sex, which refers to the biological characteristics. And the last reason is that outcomes matter. In highly competitive settings like these, even the tiniest, the slightest advantage can mean the difference between stepping on a podium or not. So yes, inclusion is important, and honestly, I don't care if you want to dress as a woman, if you want to dress as a man. You're an adult, you can do whatever you want, but not at the cost of distorting results in categories that is built to ensure fairness. And I don't think there's going to be a perfect policy. Either way, when it's fair to one group, it's going to be unfair to another. That's how policies work. There's always going to be two sides. And again, I want to make this clear. This is not about denying anyone's identity or participation in sports. I don't really care about what you do, but rather about protecting women's sports biology and ensuring that women's competition is fair and based on the biological characteristics that they were created to accommodate. I'm very curious and interested to hear about what you guys have to say on this topic, and if you guys can think of any policies that's better. So let me know in the comments. No judgment at all. And as always, thanks for watching.